offseason's first quarterback domino could fall on this day, and it could be that man. The Raiders expected to release Derek Carr perhaps today. $40 million of his remaining 3-year contract would become guaranteed if he's on their roster past 4 o'clock Eastern time today. So that could happen. Then a week from today, the franchise tag window opens up, and that brings up the conversation about the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. And then, of course, there's Aaron Rodgers. The Jets have already reached out to the Packers to express their interest. I want you to hear his teammate Aaron Jones talking about his eventual successor, Jordan Love. Listen to this.
Jordan Love is definitely ready. I feel like from the time he's came in to now, he's just continued to work. And you could see the confidence starting to come out even more and more. And then he got some time to play in games this past season. And you can tell he made that jump, and he's confident out there, and he's capable, and he can do it at a high level. So I feel like he'd definitely be that guy when A-Rod's gone.
Now, I tell you what, those of us who've been around long enough will remember those are exactly the kinds of things that Aaron Rodgers' teammates were saying about him once upon a time when Brett Favre was in that sort of to be or not to be Hamlet kind of position that Rodgers is in right now. So appropriately, we're talking about Jordan Love on Valentine's Day. And let me start with the birthday boy here. What do you think the Packers should be thinking about right now with Rodgers?
Trade him. Rip the Band-Aid off. If you believe in your process and you traded up for Jordan Love, now is the time. And Greeny, the comparisons are remarkable. When we traded for Brett Favre at the Jets, Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years. Jordan Love, he sat for 3 years. Look, it's a very small sample set, but the stats are actually comparable. And to Aaron Jones's point, guys, Jordan Love is an improved football player who they believe in. So now is the time. You have 2 years left on his contract. You're going to have to make this transition. You have Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. Let those guys grow together.
Trusting their own process. Kmart, what do you think?
My biggest question is, do they trust their own process? Because their actions, at least from the outside looking in, indicate that they don't, because they moved up to get Jordan Love, and everything since that pick has been trying to make amends for that pick. So I 100% agree with Mike Tannenbaum that at some point you have to rip the Band-Aid off. I thought the Packers were doing that by drafting Jordan Love, but they've undercut his development every step of the way. So when you say, just rip it off now, sure. But history indicates that they may not be ready to do so. In fact, they're waiting on Aaron to come back from whenever he goes into the wilderness in the dark room. They're waiting for him to let them know what he plans on doing. If they were ready to move on, they should have just turned the lights off on him already and said, goodbye, we have our successor here.
We are counting on hearing something from Aaron today. He is expected to be on. Pat McAfee has said he'll be on his show today, so we're looking forward to hearing what he says.
It's hard to go from a Hall of Famer to a Hall of Famer to another Hall of Famer. I think moving on from Brett Favre was made very easy because they passed the baton to a guy like Aaron Rodgers. I think it's really unlikely, as much as I would like it to be true, it's unlikely that Jordan Love is going to make it that easy. And Brett Favre went on to have success elsewhere, but the Packers were having success, so that was okay. It's going to be really hard if Brett Favre goes to New York and they start winning and they're making a run for a championship and Jordan Love is struggling. It's really hard to find a quarterback who's good, let alone great. And I know Aaron Rodgers had a rough year last year, but there are reasons for that. I would suggest if they could, put up with it for one more season and make another run at it, because I don't think anyone considers them a Super Bowl contender without Aaron Rodgers. Maybe they aren't one with Aaron Rodgers, but it seems to me that they would be a lot closer than they would with Jordan Love.
Now we mentioned that the Derek Carr decision should come today. And by that, we mean that Las Vegas will release him. They're not going to pay him $40 million, and he's not going to make anything easier for them. So we'll start to get a sense of what other teams are thinking. But you mentioned the Jets, and we know the reporting from the weekend from Shefty and others that the Jets have already reached out to the Packers to make the inquiries. Is Rodgers going to be available? What should the Jets be doing?
They should have been in Pebble Beach 3 weeks ago with Aaron Rodgers, raking the bunkers, being his caddy on that golf tournament. I would box out every other team, Greeny. Look, there's going to be a market. It's Aaron Rodgers, as Nietzsche said, an all-time great. And if you want him, go get him. Don't take no for an answer. And just, I would have asked the Packers for permission the day after they were eliminated, and then go see him and start recruiting and never let another team have an ounce of daylight.
All right, so let's just be clear on the circumstances. I'm not a reporter, came out, you are. So I'm in Arizona last week. I was there to cover basketball, basically, but I'm talking to everybody because it's the Super Bowl, and I can't tell you how many people said to me, I want to make it clear, I'm not reporting anything, but how many people said to me, the Packers are ready to move on. The Packers are ready to turn the page and go forward, because I'm asking everybody, are the Jets going to get Aaron Rodgers?
Obviously, because that's really the main idea.
I mean,
this
literally
time.
everybody.
Yes.
I mean, people are running when they see me coming. This conversation is coming. And I can't tell you how many people I heard say to me, Greeny, the Packers are ready to make this change. But again, you're the reporter, I'm not.
No, I've heard, Greeny, I've heard similar things, but I've also heard when asking people, where do you think he'll end up? A lot of people have also told me Green Bay. And I think it's because, to Dominique's point, the transition is something that they have been afraid to rip the Band-Aid off of. They know that it's going to be hard to go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers and then hope that Jordan Love is the answer. Yes, he's improved, but look at that offense. Look at that team from the start of the season to the end. They were on an upward trajectory. You almost reset the whole clock and hope that Jordan Love can make you not just competitive, but a playoff team. That's a lot to ask for the kid.
Yeah. What should he want? I mean, what do you think here?
Yeah, that's an impossible.
That's the thing. You don't know what he wants, so then there's no way to know what he's going to do because you don't even know what he wants.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't know, and he's going to find out on his retreat very soon, and he'll let us know. But I assume that he wants to win another Super Bowl. Because he has won. And I think if there is a blemish or a knock on Aaron Rodgers' career, if he cares about what we think, if he cares about his legacy, the goal should be to win another Super Bowl. It's probably easier path in the NFC, but I think the Jets are probably a better team, a better roster overall. So that's what he's weighing. I would stay with Green Bay and tough it out one more time in the cold and try to make a run and win another Super Bowl.
You know, Greeny, just sitting in front offices for 20 plus years and being in these planning meetings, I know today is about love and relationships, but there's another word that applies here. It's fatigue. At some point, if you're the Green Bay Packers, it's just enough. Like enough. Are you in? Are you out? The contract, Devontae, Bakhtiari, enough. And at some point, it's just not worth it. He didn't play great last year. And I'm not saying Jordan Love is going to outplay Aaron Rodgers, but at some point, a declining veteran's doing this. A young quarterback's doing this.
If you're fatigued, you're tired of Aaron Rodgers. If you move on from him and you lose a bunch of years in a row, you're gonna have a lot of time to rest when you get fired.
It's true.
You deal with that fatigue while you're still getting checks. As long as that direct deposit hitting, I'm gonna listen to Aaron Rodgers say whatever it is he wants to say.
Right, because earlier in the last offseason, the question was, do you want to be the person who has on their ledger that I traded away Aaron Rodgers? A lot of people
don't. He won a Super Bowl with the Jets, and we were figuring it out with Jordan Love.
Oh, my God. I almost just collapsed. One quick final thought on this. We're going to start getting a sense of this quickly, right? I want everyone to understand the timetable here. Derek Carr is going to get released today. Derek Carr is not Aaron Rodgers. But what he probably is, this is going to sound bad, is the next best option these teams will have. So if you see the Jets going hard after him, if you see the Raiders going hard after him, that would suggest those teams don't believe Rodgers is really going to leave Green Bay, right?
Or you just need to have plan B. All your eggs can't be in any of these baskets. Lamar Jackson getting franchised. But you're right, the sense of urgency. Free agency starts today, not in the middle of March. And if you're one of the 14 teams that needs a quarterback, Derek Carr looks pretty darn good.
Yeah, because Carr will be exactly that. He could sign somewhere in the morning if he wanted to. So, keep a very close eye on what happens today with Derek Carr, whether you think he's the answer for your team or not. In a year where the draft has complicated quarterback issues, we could start this quarterback carousel spinning practically immediately. In the meantime, there's a team that has no questions at quarterback, and that, of course, is the defending champ. Oh, look at Sir Patrick enjoying the center stage at Disneyland. What will it take for him to be considered the GOAT? We'll talk about him and his future as we roll on. Plus, did Jalen and the Eagles miss their best chance at winning the Super Bowl? We'll explain why that is entirely possible as we